Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be slowing things down a bit, getting cozy and taking a deep dive into the world of slow love songs.
Mhm.
And what we have is a top 10 slow love songs list that one of our listeners sent in. And it's really interesting looking it over because it's so much more than just a list of tracks. It's filled with all these personal stories and memories that people attach to each song.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how music can connect us to specific moments in time and just bring back such strong emotions. We often associate certain songs with certain experiences, and I think these slow love songs really seem to tap into something universal about love and longing and just the whole experience of relationships.
Yeah, it definitely feels like certain songs just become part of how we experience love and how we express it.
Mm.
How many times did we see comments about a song being someone's like first dance song at their wedding, or how a song perfectly captured the feeling of their relationship? It's almost like these songs become rituals, marking these really important moments in our love lives.
Right. And it makes you think about like, are there certain songs that transcend generations and become those kind of cultural touchstones for expressing love? And speaking of generations, it's interesting to see the mix of artists on this list. We've got everything from Elvis and Bryan Adams to Ed Sheeran and 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah, that's a really interesting mix of artists. It makes you wonder if we're seeing a merging of musical tastes, or if there are like distinct eras of slow love songs. Like, do certain generations gravitate towards specific musical styles when it comes to love songs? And this also makes me wonder, what even makes a song slow? I mean, the list description mentions that these aren't necessarily dance songs. They're more about being calm and soothing. So is it just about the tempo, or are there other things at play here?
I think it's probably a combination of things. Musical preferences are definitely influenced by what we hear growing up, but there might also be certain sounds or lyrical themes that connect better with different age groups. And as for what makes a song slow, yeah, tempo is definitely a big part of it. But then you've got the lyrics, the instruments, even how the singer delivers the words. It all comes together to create that overall feeling of calmness and intimacy that we associate with slow love songs.
So it's not just about how fast or slow the beat is. It's about the whole package, the lyrics, the instruments, the way the singer sings it, all working together to create that mood. And, speaking of how we interpret songs, this is where it gets really interesting. There's a story about George Michael saying that Careless Whisper, which a lot of people consider a classic love ballad,
Yeah.
he said it's not actually a love song at all.
Yeah, that's a great example of how subjective our interpretation of music can be. We all bring our own experiences and emotions to the music we listen to, and that shapes how we understand a song's meaning. What might sound like a heartbreaking love song to one person could be like an anthem of empowerment to someone else.
That actually explains why we see such a wide range of emotions expressed in the comments on this list.
Mhm.
For example, someone mentioned listening to Bruno Mars's When I Was Your Man every day and crying. That song clearly means something really deep to them, even if other people might interpret it differently.
Mhm.
What I find fascinating is how much our personal experiences can affect how we connect with music.
Yeah, that's one of the most powerful things about music when you say it's like it's a mirror reflecting our own emotions and experiences back at us. This top 10 slow love songs list really shows that, I mean, we're seeing all these different artists' styles, a whole range of emotions, but they're all connected by this idea of slow love songs. It says a lot about music's ability to connect with us on such a deep personal level.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the big hits either.
Yeah.
The newcomers and contenders sections highlight some of the lesser known songs that people are really connecting with. One person mentioned that Aerosmith's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is like the only love song they won't immediately turn off. There's something about certain songs that just cuts through everything else and grabs you by the heartstrings.
Yeah, those hidden gems often become like part of our own personal soundtracks woven into our lives. It makes you wonder, what makes a song timeless? Is it purely nostalgia, or are there universal qualities that speak to people across generations, regardless of what's popular at the time?
It's like trying to figure out a secret code. Is it a catchy melody? Are the lyrics relatable and tap into our shared experiences of love and longing? Or is there something else, something more that makes a song feel both familiar and deeply personal at the same time?
Yeah, it's probably a perfect mix of the musical elements and that emotional resonance that lets a song transcend time and connect with listeners across different generations. Maybe it's the ability to tap into those universal human experiences, love, loss, joy, heartbreak, and do it in a way that feels authentic and relatable.
Hmm.
And as we've seen from all the comments, it's not just about the notes and lyrics, it's about the memories, experiences, and emotions that we attach to those songs.
It's like each song is a container carrying this unique blend of personal and collective meaning. We fill them up with our own stories, our own emotions, and they become something completely new in the process.
Exactly. And those personal connections, those shared experiences, that's what gives these slow love songs their staying power. They remind us that we're not alone in this whole messy world of human emotions. And music can be a powerful way to express and understand those emotions.
It's funny because when you think about slow love songs, the first thing that pops into your head might be like a couple slow dancing. But this list kind of challenges that idea. These songs aren't really about dancing. They're more about creating a certain mood and atmosphere.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost like these songs are creating a space for intimacy and emotional connection. Whether you're listening alone or with someone special, they make you want to slow down and reflect and just connect with your feelings.
It makes me wonder, is there some kind of formula for writing a slow love song? Like, what are those lyrical themes and musical elements that keep popping up in these songs?
Well, if you look at the lyrics of the songs on this list, there are definitely some recurring themes you see a lot, like longing, vulnerability, devotion, and kind of the bittersweet feeling of love. And musically, they often have slower tempos, softer instrumentation like acoustic guitar or piano, and the vocals are more about expressing emotion than showing off vocal skills.
So it's all about creating that atmosphere of tenderness and intimacy, both through the words and the music. It's about pulling the listener in
Yeah.
and making them feel like they're experiencing those emotions right along with the artist.
Exactly. And that focus on emotional vulnerability might be one of the reasons why slow love songs resonate so strongly with people. They give us a safe space to acknowledge and process those complicated emotions that we don't always know how to talk about in our everyday lives.
It's like they give us permission to feel those things, to embrace the whole spectrum of human emotion without feeling judged. And it's interesting to think about how the cultural context of these songs influences their meaning and impact.
Absolutely. The way we experience and interpret slow love songs is definitely shaped by those societal norms and cultural expectations around love and relationships. Something that might be seen as romantic in one culture could be interpreted totally differently in another.
So even though some musical elements and lyrical themes might be universal, the way we receive and understand them is filtered through our own cultural lens.
Exactly, and that cultural aspect adds another layer of complexity and richness to how we understand slow love songs. It reminds us that music isn't created in a bubble. It's a product of its time and place, reflecting the values, beliefs, and experiences of the culture where it came from.
Speaking of reflecting values and beliefs, I noticed a few comments mentioning specific religious or spiritual connections to certain songs. It seems like slow love songs can even touch on something sacred or divine.
That's an interesting observation. It's like
Hmm.
certain songs go beyond just the romantic aspect and connect with something deeper, something that links us to a sense of wonder and awe and our search for meaning. Music has always been a big part of religious and spiritual practices in different cultures. So it makes sense that even secular love songs would have that spiritual element.
And I think that shows just how powerful music can be in our lives. It can connect us to our deepest emotions, our cultural identities, and even our spiritual beliefs. It's a force that breaks down barriers and brings us together in a shared human experience.
It really is. As we dive deeper into these slow love songs, we start to appreciate this whole tapestry of musical elements, personal memories, cultural influences, and spiritual connections that make them so captivating. They're not just about romance, they're a reflection of the human experience with all its beauty, complexity, and vulnerability.
And one of the things that really struck me as we were going through these comments is the sheer diversity of experiences and interpretations people have with these songs. There's no right or wrong way to connect with music, is there?
Absolutely not.
Uh-huh.
The beauty of music is that it's subjective. Each listener brings their own unique perspective and personal history to the experience, and that shapes how they connect with it. Something that evokes nostalgia for one person could trigger feelings of hope or longing for someone else.
It reminds us that even when we're all listening to the same song, we're each experiencing it in our own unique way, creating our own personal stories within the music.
And that's what makes conversations about music so enriching. When we share our interpretations and personal connections, we get a deeper understanding of just how multifaceted music is and how it touches our lives in powerful and sometimes unexpected ways.
It's like each song is a prism splitting light into a whole spectrum of colors and perspective.
Exactly. And the more we explore those different perspectives, the more we come to understand the true power and beauty of music.
It feels like we've gone so much deeper than just a simple top 10 list. We've really explored how powerful music can be in bringing back memories, how it shapes our ideas about love, and even how it can connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, it's been like a fascinating journey through all these different human emotions, hasn't it? We've seen how these songs can be containers for personal experiences, cultural values, and even those deep spiritual longings.
And what's amazing is that even after all this analysis, breaking these songs down, their magic hasn't disappeared at all. I
Oh.
actually think I appreciate even more the artistry and the emotional depth behind them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sometimes when you overanalyze things, it can take away from their power. But with these songs, it feels like we've peeled back the layers and found even more beauty and complexity.
It's like we've gained this whole new way of seeing these songs. We can appreciate not just how beautiful they are on the surface, but also that intricate web of meaning and emotion woven into every part of them.
And maybe that's the biggest thing we can take away from this whole deep dive. Slow love songs aren't just sentimental tunes, they're like doorways to our shared human experience. They remind us that love, longing, heartbreak, and the search for connection are things we all experience.
Well, it's been great exploring this with you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into slow love songs.
And as you go back and listen to these songs, think about what parts speak to you the most. What memories come up? What emotions do they stir up inside you? What do they tell you about how you understand love and connection? You might be surprised by what you discover.